Alright, so today we are going to be replacing the starter. You don't have to remove all this plastic, but that piece there just slides out. It's a little, this is not a video about how to remove all that plastic up there. I think I've done it in another video already anyway. And it's not that hard. You can figure it out if you have to. But I'm not even gonna, you don't have to. And you can get to the bolts here. You just have to disconnect your fuel line. You do that by squishing this thing in. You pull that in, pull back forward, then back out. Okay, that's not good. Hey guys, this is TariBot, and today we have a little bit of wetness down there. I don't know if you can see it very well. I tried to, the lighting here is alright. Midday, cloudy, works. But what I'm really wanting to do is replace the starter. And if you want to check that starter, if you'll notice, you see down in there, there is some connections to the starter down there. And the top one is always hot. The bottom one will only turn hot when you turn the key to start it. But if you can't get to that, you can also, it's not a great idea. If you have a power probe, you can also probe that little white wire going into the top, which is what sends your signal to the starter to begin with. It just uses a solenoid inside to handle the higher current of actually turning the starter. You don't want to send that high current all the way through to your ignition switch. It's pretty common on all cars, really. But yeah, so I'm going in to replace the starter because I have tested it and it is getting power to it and it lights up with the key on. So, or the key in start position. So, and my power probe actually tells me how many volts. So it's kind of nifty to know that, hey, I don't actually have a short going on, or not likely anyway. I also replaced all these plastic tubes and stuff in here before. And I'm going to recheck that because, like I said, there's some oil seepage here. Maybe I have to clean these flapper things. There's another one or two of those somewhere around in here. Oh yeah, there's one on this side. I think there's one on the bottom. Only the 06, I was told, and this particular N52 engine has that special intake like that. All the other ones had a single stage intake. But that's okay. I'm gonna clean those parts up. Let's pray I don't have to replace them because I'm sure they're $1 million. And but like I said, the main reason is getting in here was just to replace the starter, but I'm going to take care of these other issues too. Oh, I want to show you too, this is how I did the valve cover. We had that one vacuum connection there. So what I did was I ran a splitter here to hook to this one. You see it? It's right about here, if you can see. I would put that anyway, and then this goes down here. I don't know if you can see it. And I think that's been working really good. But what I don't think's been working was I put this little 1-inch piece of tube here, clear tubing, because my connectors didn't go together, and I don't know why. I think it's because the magnesium and the plastic cover had slightly different ways these connected, maybe, or something. Anyway, they don't plug up, but putting a piece of clear 1-inch tubing seemed to seal up really good. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see, it just doesn't seem to be sealing that well anymore. It's gotten hard with the heat, wasn't a good choice for the heat and stuff, maybe, or I maybe should have clamped it differently. That's the only problem I've been running. I think I'm losing a little bit of oil and vacuum there and stuff, so we gotta take care of that because it's throwing things off. Hopefully we'll see if it clears up everything. But yeah, I'm getting this one particular code, and everybody on the forum says that this could be it. But we'll do an oil change too, put a new filter in it, clean these things out. But I just cleaned them out. I just took them out. I've changed them. I think the ones that were in it, I thought I put back the original BMWs, but I want to think that the one person who had it before me had already replaced it with Chinese Vanos solenoids. So I may have to figure out a way to get original BMW Vanos solenoids, but it may have to be from the junkyard because they're so expensive. But if I get the factory original ones, 9 times out of 10 people just don't clean them. So that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know if that's today or not. Let's take care of the vacuum problem with that back hose, make sure it seals better, and clean these things out. And we'll go from there. Oh, and take this intake off. Just a bunch of these bolts. This here. Unplug stuff. Unplug that. Undo these things. Your fuel line here. You're going to push this in really hard, the little black piece. I'm going to push that black piece into this piece real hard, then push this piece up into this, then push, oh, I have to connect it, didn't I? And then do that, and then when you pull it, okay, and then you can see a little bit of fuel will come out. It may be under a little more pressure if you've been messing with it, so be careful. Put a rag there if you're not sure. That way when spray into the rag when you disconnect. Anyway. Yep. Delphi coils seem to be doing good. Do got to do something about this. I don't not like it's connected to the magnesium one, but doesn't. Maybe it'll connect to this one too, and I just don't have it right. No, I don't think it will. I think the newer ones had something different that snapped into here, and I just don't have that piece. Since this one was designed for the magnesium one, I just leave it here, and I've wired all these things. That's the other thing I did differently for the magnesium head, was I had to wire grounds. Make sure everything had a ground. They used to have a ground with the magnesium head valve cover. Because these were just built into the valve cover, so they needed to. And this is where the valve cover got its ground. Now these bolts here, these should all be 11 millimeter. And what I would advise would be to take out all the side ones, but leave this middle one in for last, and then take it off last, easily by hand. Or whatever. The reason I say that is so you don't prevent some warpage happening to the intake manifold. Even though it's made out of plastic, it can crack or break if you put too much stress on one side versus the other. I don't know what BMW says, but that's just my thoughts on it. Notice too that they didn't use aluminum bolts on this. They knew you'd be in here. They knew you'd be changing that starter and this other crap. Anyway, yeah. Alright. So yeah, there it is. Alright. As soon as these cars and motorcycles and everything I want to drive by goes away, here's the deal. The starter has turned out to be more of a pain in the butt than I quite realized. You have to unplug these things everywhere. This is heaters. You have to unplug all these. I don't think it's too important. There's like 3 of them. They don't all have to go in exactly the same spot. I think all 3 plugs are the same. And there's even an extra one. Don't know why. If you have a knock sensor code, this is a good time to get to those knock sensors. There's one there. one there. But yeah, this starter, this sucks. Look. See right here? Yeah. One of the starter bolts comes in from behind. I don't know if you can see in the shadow down there. Anyway, but the other one's right there. And of course, it's one of those E-bolts. If you have, I don't know, maybe I can. If sometimes you can get wrenches, but you really shouldn't put a wrench on that. I'm gonna see if I can get an E-socket there, but I don't. There's like even stuff behind that, so there's got to be a trick. There's probably a special wrench for this. I don't know. Also, you got all these stupid things here. You have to squeeze these things, and you might have to use some pliers to get to them. You know. And this thing's got some screws in it. This whole thing will drop. I don't know. I took out the throttle body just to make it easier. But yeah, a couple of these. These are all 10mm that we're holding the throttle body on. Yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah. This was a real pain in the butt to get out. Like I say, you can probably get pliers in certain angles, but you want to make sure you squeeze on the textured sides. See, there's this little texturing here. That's the only way to get it to. Maybe this one's easier. See what happens. You see. If you don't squeeze here and here, those don't spread out. And that's what's really holding those hoses on. So make sure you squeeze those properly. Squeeze it right, boys. Yeah, we've been getting some rain. Getting the car dirty. Seems to leaving that plastic off down there. I didn't leave the aluminum part off, but I've left the plastic part off for a little while now. I don't know if that helped contribute to matters, but you can see all the dirt and stuff that somehow made its way up in here. Well, there was a little bit up here too. Yeah, keep in mind, 180,000 miles. And but I've been in here. You know, I could have done some more cleaning. I think we're going to brush this out with a paintbrush, just to do some. I'm not going to scrub it. Just going to, you know, get this dirt out of here and brush it down. But yeah, looking at the starter here, a lot of dirt here. A lot of dirt here. I'm guessing from when I left these plastic panels off down there. That's part of the reason. And but I mean, up here, I just didn't. I was here before and I hadn't cleaned, I guess. But I think some new dirt's found its way up in here. I guess I gotta get those panels back on. I don't know if that contributed to the starter failure or what. Well, if you have to replace the starter to absolutely verify that it's the starter's problem and I don't have any other problems. But anyway, I wanted to tell you about these bolts over here. Let's see. Okay. Now, okay, yeah, first I want to tell you about these. Look at this. 7/16 on 11mm. Probably shouldn't, but look what I gotta work with. There's no way I'm getting a socket. I'm not coming up from behind there. It's just a sucky way of putting that in. And then I can get to the bolt on this side coming from this direction. But if you, but that socket is a E14, I believe. If you do want to put those we're going to take that off with that. And then this one here is a 13. Make sure you disconnect your battery and all that. So you don't want to accidentally do this, because this one's going to be hot all the time. You know, if talking about that, when you go on to test this before you get this far, this one's going to be hot all the time. This one here is the one that turns hot with the key on, the orange, that copper bare wire. That's the one you really want to test. But if you absolutely can't get that without fear of shorting on something, you can also test this. But once you pierce that wire, make sure you put something back in there. I used a power probe that allowed me to lock a piece to that, so I could check for key on power. But it doesn't tell me, it just tells me that this is getting power here. But I mean, if I'm failing after that, I don't, you know. Anyway. There's a sight hole there. I wonder if that was meant so that you could put some sort of special socket. You can't see through it. See that weird hole back there? Anyway. So yeah, that's the starter. I'm going to take it out. Oh, that's not good. Whew. That thing was so tight. So tight. So tight. Actually, he said. Stop making bad jokes, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, look at that. I wonder if that's the oil level sensor. I don't want to mess with it. I'm afraid I'll break some. Alright. Yeah. Put this socket. I'm going to get that one off. Oh, look at it go. Look at it go. I smell like gas. I smell like gasoline. If I could get this one back here, I would. But you can see, it's just no room. There's a firewall right here. This is a horrible place. But this is a 7/16. Flex headgear. Flex the head a little bit. Pop it down there. 11mm works too. And I need both hands for this. Figure this out somehow. Oh my god. You want to be easy. You don't want to just jerk it too bad. So you don't want to rip the top of the bolt off. Yeah, that can happen when you're using a 12-point on a 6-point. This an E bolt. Yeah, no. reverse Torx bolt, whatever you want to call those things. I don't know why nobody can. I mean, I'm sure there's an actual name for them. But all I ever hear anybody call them is weird bolts. Take out those weird star bolts. They are E-bolts, I believe. What they are called. I thought it was fingerless. This has a long bolt, so it seems. You only can turn it a little by little. Starter bolt, starter bolt. They're pretty much the same, right? Okay. So yeah. What I missed? Is there a third bolt? What's going on? Why doesn't it just fall out? Times like this, I have to get out the new starter and say, okay, what are we looking at? I got two bolts, two bolt holes, 1, 2. That's it. This don't do nothing. So why is it still being held in? Why can't I just yank that puppy out of there? That puppy should come right out. It's just like my sound effects. That crappy out. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Take a little pry bar. I'm not even thinking about this stuff no more. Okay, so what we want to do, take this pry bar and gently, what? Why? What is holding it? Man, I'm afraid of breaking something. I mean, I'm serious. Like, that thing is like in there. It's gone. It's just not happy about it. I mean, it's really not happy. It feels, oh man. I saw a piece of something fall. Some green stuff here. What do you guys think? Sound fine? Let's shake the new one. See what it sounds like. About the same. But it smells better. It smells like a new part. Don't smell all that horrible. Usually they smell really bad when they're bad like that. But look at this weird. See the stuff that's flaking off? See that? Oh. Yeah, big deal, I guess. Clean it. Not that bad. It's weird. So yeah, I'd clean that out. Well, if I wanted to put the engine on top dead center, now might be a good time to do it. Yeah, I was going to say the actual alignment hole for that, if you're ever looking for it, it's under here. It's not under the starter per se. It's through this slot here. Go in here, and it's in there. There's a hole there. And that's where you'll put that alignment tool whenever it comes time to line up cams and stuff. And it'll line up on one of these holes here. You want to be on the right one, that's for sure. It's not too hard to find. You can do the whole long screwdriver and #1 cylinder trick works. Just like any car, works on these cars too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure putting it in is pretty much the opposite of taking it out. The only difference really is when you're tightening up with this, it's not very good. You know, doing that back bolt. It's kind of spooky with this. Maybe what I might try to do, I wish I had a crow's foot that was like an E bolt. I'm sure that BMW has a special tool for that. I may have to just use the 7/16 here and go back, tighten it the best I can. Try not to strip the head. That's the fear, is that this will strip the heads on these. That's my fear. Especially, I mean, look at this thing. It goes on for days. Fly me to